Hey, what's going on, guys? We are live again with another video. Today, first and foremost, although Arsenal beat Ipswich Town 1-0 with a wonderful goal by no other than Kai Havertz on the score sheet, it's been doom and gloom for Arsenal this week in terms of news. Although with the transfer window upcoming on the 1st of January officially opening, it's doom and gloom for the Gunners as Arsenal's star boy Bukayo Saka has had surgery on his injured hamstring and is reported to be out longer than expected, with a period looking at from anywhere between March to end of April. The minimum for someone who's had surgery on their hamstring with the grade that he's had his injury could be a minimum of 3 months from January, which could be anywhere from end of March to April before we see Bukayo Saka reach light training back on the pitch. It's looking really doom and gloom for us. I mean, Bukayo Saka carries this team on big nights. I don't want to hear people say that he doesn't step up on big occasions because he's had. We brought him on in the League Cup quarterfinals against Crystal Palace, and he scored a brace for us, assisted by no other than Martin Odegaard himself. It's a huge loss for us, and it's definitely big boots to fill on that right wing side. We did try Martinelli at right wing in that position against Ipswich, and I think he was really poor in that game. Mind you, I don't think he was the only one who had a poor performance in attack against Ipswich. Ipswich, of course, parked the bus against us in most of the game, but we should have beat Ipswich with more goals than just one at home, in the comfort of our own home turf. With that being said, I was at that game, and it was nice to see Santi Cazorla return back to the Emirates. What a player he was! What right foot, left foot. He was really good for us, and it was nice to see his return back to the Emirates. He did talk about some of our stars we have in this team. We do have upcoming stars in this team, like the likes of Ethan Waneri and Miles Lewis Skelly, but it's disappointing with Bukayo Saka's injury. Um, and it's upsetting to see how we're going to fulfill this position with the upcoming transfer window coming up in January. Will Arsenal go and address the winger issue as well as potentially a striker issue, or would we go for someone like a versatile winger? And the final thing I'd have to say is, would Arsenal end up signing anyone in this upcoming January transfer window other than just a goalkeeper? We did try for a goalie of 30 million release clause in the summer window. It was terrible, and we shouldn't have tried for a goalie like that. Big up Omar. Hope you're well. I think you're watching the NFL right now, or it's gonna be on soon. But hopefully you're enjoying that. I know the Vikings and Packers game is on now. Um, Jordan Love, hopefully you're a big fan of. I'm not sure if you put a bet on that game, Omar. Hopefully you win some good money. New camera? No, I'm just using my iPad, Omar. It's a wide angle camera. I didn't do the zoom on here. Um, but hopefully this is better. Um, it's just a wide camera on the iPad. You look a bit tired. Are you okay? No, I'm all right. I'm kind of like adjusting back to real time. So I traveled, and it was a bit tiring going back and forth, but I enjoyed the game and enjoyed catching up with friends and family over across the pond over there. Of course, when I go to games, Arsenal do not lose, bar the Bayern Munich game in the Champions League. I think was one of my first defeats, and then Aston Villa and the League Cup we threw away last season. I went to that game, so I do have some losses in my overall record. But in 2024, I've not yet seen a loss for Arsenal, so long may that continue. Any game I've attended, whether it be in the League Cup, or in the Champions League group stages, as it stands. I hope in 2025 I'm able to go more to round of 16 Champions League across Europe. It would be great for us. Big up everyone in the chat. Martinelli is rubbish on the right. We're going to talk about that. I think that's a big talking point in this game, especially as we're addressing the links of Kingsley Coman. Kingsley Coman was someone we were linked to in the summer transfer window, and Simon Collins just rehashing that point again today with an article saying that Arsenal are still looking around Kingsley Coman. I think this is just rubbish paper talk and should be disregarded entirely. I don't think Kingsley Coman is a player they would let go of from Munich, and I also don't think it would help us in addressing that position. Fabio Vieira was excluded from the rivalry match for his team. I believe it's for Porto. Very, very concerning. We did think, Arsenal detectives did think that maybe he would come from being recalled on loan, and maybe there's a clause in his contract, hypothetically, that if Saka got injured, we would recall Fabio Vieira from loan. Porto manager disproved the Fabio Vieira rumors that he was going to be on his way in a private jet to London. The manager himself said that this is not true. He was just left out for a purpose of tactical reasons. He was injured at the start of his career, but I believe at Porto on this loan spell, but he did play start 8 of their games and has been doing overall well for them in the games that he has started and played. Vieira was not injured, and it was speculations that he could be on his way back to Arsenal. But the manager clarified the decision wasn't for poor match performances; it was just mere so uh, a tactical in-depth analysis of whether who's gonna start. He did talk about Fabio Vieira having a lot of potential. My only downside is if Arsenal were to recall Fabio Vieira, is that enough? Because whenever Fabio Vieira gets a game time, he doesn't get a good run of game time, and then he ultimately gets injured, and we never really get to see good consistent performances from him. I think he offers something different on that side, and he can also play in the 8 position. But I do think we need to address this position with someone better. I don't know who's going to be available in January, or if Arsenal would even try to go out there for a versatile winger in the market. It's very difficult because some of these players are cup tied. The likes of Ademola Lookman would be a brilliant signing, but I just don't see him leaving when he's Champions League tied. Sorry, and when he's Europe tied. And big up Ashik, big up Nakaro. Merry Christmas, Niall. Hope you had a great Christmas, everybody. Those of you celebrating. Abu says Coman is a great signing in 2013. Yeah, I don't think he's all that anymore. But if it was a loan spell, it's better than no one. Mind you, Sterling is also still injured. Um, Arteta has yet to say whether Sterling is going to have a return. He does say that Sterling is still a few more weeks away. And the thing with Arteta is you can't really take what he says in his press conferences post game so literally. So a few weeks could end up being a month for all we know. Do you rate the Carabao Cup? Yes, I do rate the Carabao Cup. I rate all the trophies, and I think a Carabao Cup would be good to win. Big up Flicks. Hope you're well. um, OHMZ 270 says we need a massive signing in January. Saka is massive and they know it. Yes, it is true that the club will, big up Dylan. I think because we have this injury to Saka, maybe that will push the club to sign a winger for coverage. And hopefully we would address this position. I don't know if this will be a stopgap signing or if we would address this as someone who's versatile to play on that on the right side of the wing and either elsewhere on the pitch. I think Arteta said after Ipswich that Sterling isn't as bad as they thought. Yes, I do remember Arteta saying that. Arteta said he was still a few weeks away, and we don't know if they've returned to training yet. I know some of these players were off for the holidays, well-deserved rest. Bukayo Saka, it's really sad that I think it's the same hamstring that caused him problems on international duty. So, if with him having surgery, I think he's gonna need time to recover. And I don't think Arsenal will be that team to rush him back from injury. I don't see that happening. Somebody's asking, what about the guy from Villarreal? I don't think those were concrete links either. We're gonna get into the latest rumors. Alex Baena. Those of you asking about the Villarreal player. Sterling is bad even without injuries. Oh my god, I shouldn't be laughing at that. To be fair to Sterling, I don't think this guy has had consistent minutes. If we're being honest, yeah, we saw him in the cup game against Preston midweek. We saw him give some help and confidence for someone like Ethan Waneri, but I don't think he's offering much. But mind you, you can't really put a lot of the blame to him when he's hardly getting game time. Tierney, I found him coming on the pitch after so long. Tierney's been Tierney he offered a lot in that game. Saka has the same injury as Reece James. Wow. And I just hope it doesn't depreciate him as a player. If with him getting surgery, I know Reece James has put off the surgery many times previous seasons for Chelsea. He was a great player for Chelsea, and it's just the injuries that getting the best of him. When Sterling has had a chance, he stunk the place out. Yes, I understand. I'll always go back to this example. Robert Pires, when we first signed him, he took a long time, like over a season, to get it going. And the legend that Robert Pires is now for Arsenal. If people were crucifying him the minute we signed him, I'm not comparing Raheem Sterling to Robert Pires as an eye for eye or an apple for apple, but I'm just saying if we had disproved or not given a chance to someone like Robert Pires, we would have lost the legend of Arsenal if we were so quick to judge. People are so quick to judge the likes of Mikel Merino. I think Mikel Merino has offered a lot more in midfield in the games where he's come off the bench rather than when he started. Robert Pires hadn't played in the Prem before for our top club. So are you trying to say he's not Premier League proven? He wasn't Premier League proven. This Premier League proven crap is nonsense because Haaland wasn't Premier League proven. Rodri wasn't Premier League proven. And I don't think that's I think that's a very weak point to say, but I do respect your difference of opinion. Guys, we are gonna get straight into this video. I'm gonna cue the intro now as I'm about 11 minutes in. And we're gonna address the Bukayo Saka injury. I did talk about it already, but it is clear that Saka is going to be out for a minimum of 3 months because Arteta confirmed that he did have surgery on his hamstring, despite what some wannabe ITKs said on Twitter about knowing Saka's specialist, this, that, and the third. It is clear that Arteta indicated in his post-match conference against Ipswich that Bukayo Saka had surgery on his injured hamstring and is set to be out for a while. Whether Saka is going to be out for the rest of the season entirely, it's unsure. But the one thing I would like to say is get well soon, B, and we hope you come back stronger on the end of the season. Hopefully, when we're in through to the final shout of the Champions League. We have a round of 16 to go to. We still have to play Dinamo Zagreb. We have to play Brentford away. We have Brighton away. We have a Tottenham North London derby coming out. And without Bukayo Saka, it's going to be really tough for this team. But it's now time more than ever for these players to pick up the slack and get their ish together. So let me cue the intro and we'll get straight into the video. Thanks everyone who's tuned in on Twitter and on YouTube. So first and foremost, Fabrizio Romano. I got Fabio Vieira stuck on the tip of my tongue because it's just so typical of Arsenal to go the easy way out and recall a player rather than spending money in the market, which makes sense because in the summer we would get the player we actually want rather than a stopgap signing or someone to temporary fill in the cracks, as the saying goes. I am repping my authentic woman's home kit, guys. It took me a long time for Arsenal to finally get this kit back in stock. I'm telling you, it took as long as it would take Martinelli to look up before he scores a goal. Well, jokes aside, folks, Fabrizio Romano said that Arteta announced in his post-match conference against Ipswich that Bukayo Saka would be out for more than 2 months, and because he had surgery on his injured hamstring, he would be out for a minimum of 3 months. He already underwent the surgery, and we saw a picture of him in the hospital bed on his Instagram. And it depends on how well his scar tissues start to heal and the mobility, how well he does in his recovery process in physio and rehab. So we wish Bukayo Saka um, all the best. I think the minimum we're looking at is about 10 to 12 weeks if all goes well to plan, and that's about 3 to 4 months roughly. It is a huge loss for Arsenal, and the players that can play right wing for us, if we do not sign anyone, of course, can be Fabio Vieira, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, who is on 4 yellow cards, as Nakaro mentions. Timber is also on 4 yellow cards. So if Timber and Jesus get another yellow against Brentford, they would be suspended for the next match. And I think that resets shortly after. Also, Ethan Waneri, Arteta has hinted before that Ethan Waneri can play right wing. I don't see, in games like Brentford away at the G-Tech Stadium, it's not a stadium where uh, I expect us to do so well, like a walk in the park. Brentford are quite good at home. I know it's the contrary away from home that Brentford have a poor record on the road, but this is Brentford at home, and they do have a good record. So I wouldn't underestimate them. I do think Brentford is a team we need to be careful for going away there. One of my friends and one of my viewers, he's currently watching me now. I do want to talk about this point. And big up to Malia. Hope you're well as well. Hope you're enjoying the holidays. It's nice for me because I get a break from work and get to touch up with you guys. I just got back yesterday evening and I wanted to go live not only to be consistent, but to talk about the injury concerns, to talk about Arteta's post press conference, and to disprove the fact that Saka is no longer injured for an estimated of 6 weeks. That's actually doubled for about 10 to 12 weeks now for his torn hamstring. Would Martinelli step up at right wing, or are we looking at recalling Fabio Vieira from loan? Although the Porto manager disproved the idea that Fabio Vieira would be on loan, I do think this is quite well an easy possibility of Arsenal to do, and something typical of Arsenal to do is to recall a player like this on loan, given the situation now. Um, there are injury concerns still looming around with Ben White we have no notice of. And if you still remember, we have a player called Takehiro Tomiyasu still in our books, who's very good aerial ability wise, but hardly ever available. There's no information on Tomiyasu and Ben White. Ben White is a huge loss for us, but Timber makes it look effortless in the positions he plays. Even you stick him in the right back, you stick him left back. Him and Calafiori, they look really well in this team, and they look like they're finally gelling into this team, mind you. I do want to talk about this point, folks. Big up Garvin, thank you for tuning in. Zane says, and in the extra time for Saka to get up to speed because he doesn't want to overexert the injury to make it reoccurring. Zane, I did talk about this. I said I don't think Arsenal would do the mistakes of the past where we rush a player back onto the pitch. So I don't think Saka would be. We'll see much of Saka till the end of the season, and if we're lucky, maybe a game or two. But I wouldn't. I wouldn't put my money on it if I was a betting woman. Guys, I do want to talk about something that someone's mentioned to me. One of my viewers mentioned to me, and it needs to be spoken up for. Is Sky Sports now? A lot of people say there's agenda against Arsenal. You would have heard people like AFTV Ty saying there's an agenda against Arsenal, the media, the referees, and even Arsene Wenger himself has called it out before in the past that we don't necessarily get decisions given our way, whether it be the likes of scrappy VAR or the officials behind it, be people like David Coote, doing all kinds of nonsense, and it taking forever to them make a VAR decision against Liverpool at home, a game in which I attended with my friend Luca. We need to talk about how Sky are making us play on Wednesday, even though there are no games on Tuesday and Arsenal have a game on Saturday. It's People say okay, it's for policing reasons, maybe for the safety. Even though Arsenal have played on New Year's Eve for the last 2 years, I'm not going to give the excuse of a fixture pileup, but it's really unfair when Arsenal have to play sooner after we have a game. We now play Wednesday and have to play on Saturday with less days to rest for our players, which means we're probably looking at more rotation in the festive period and in January upcoming. In January, we have 8 games to play, with 5 of those games being at home, whether it be in the League Cup against Newcastle in the first leg at home, and we have a Champions League match against Dinamo Zagreb, which is important for us to win, for us to qualify into the top 8 seed, so we don't have to play a playoffs. We also have Tottenham in the league. We have to play Brighton in the league. Brighton has not been an easy ground to go to at the Amex of recent, and I do think Brighton are a team that's starting to get into form with the likes of Matoma and João Pedro. At the moment, as someone mentioned in my chat previously, Gabriel Jesus and Timber remain on 4 yellow cards, so another yellow card for them would mean they would be suspended. That's something we need to be careful for and be alert for. But this, people always say there's make fun of us saying, "Oh, there's a controversy against Arsenal. Everything's against Arsenal." But Sky making us play on a Wednesday and then play again on Saturday just for their media coverage, it's clear that they have a bias against Arsenal or something against Arsenal where it doesn't happen to other teams. And Tuesday, there's no games to play. We could have easily played on Tuesday and had another day of rest, but of course that's not the case. And Arsenal now have to adjust with more fixture pile up and less days of rest. I think the fixture pile up wouldn't matter if we had more days of rest. That's something to mention. In terms of the yellow cards, I do believe the yellow cards would reset. And I'm just looking for it now. So the yellow cards after this game week, so the game week that just ended against Ipswich, players will need 10 yellow cards until the end of game week 32 for a 2-game ban. So just to repeat, after this game week ended, game week 18, sorry, game week 17 ended, players will need 10 yellow cards until the end of game week 32 before they would face a 2-game suspension. So Timber and Jesus still remain on 4 yellow cards, and they need to avoid, both of them need to avoid a yellow against Brentford, or else they will be banned against Brighton away at the Amex Stadium. The Seagulls are not necessarily a greatest team we go up against, so we need to be careful of that. Resets after game 19, yeah, that makes sense. So just after this game week. Um, Thanks for clarifying that. Lewis Skelly is getting more and more of confidence, 100%. I really like his development in this team. I think Lewis Skelly is just a little bit ahead of Ethan Waneri in terms of his development, physicality wise, maturity wise, and on the pitch, you can see it. I do hope he gets more game time in this League Cup. We do have to play Newcastle at home first, and then we go away to St. James Park. In that home leg, we need to score as much as possible so that St. James leg doesn't become St. James Park leg doesn't become a nightmare for us. It's not an easy ground to go to. And for the first leg, Fabian Schär and Bruno Guimaraes are suspended. I think, one thing I will say after today's game, Liverpool and West Ham rolled over for Liverpool, typical of West Ham. But expecting something from a team like West Ham is rubbish. We should look upon ourselves and look at our own performances, individual performances. I think so far there's been a lot of scrappy draws for Arsenal, that games in which we could have won, not beating Everton at home. We have to beat Everton at home, and we failed to do so. Yes, Chelsea drew with Everton, but that was away at Goodison Park, which is a fair result, bias aside, and just being objective. I think Salah's going to have the best individual numbers in the league. He stat padded again against West Ham today, but credit goes to that team that Arne Slots took over. And you see, they don't even hold the ball for so long when they have it, so players can hardly injure them. I know Andy Robertson has made some faults for them, but I think with them is they have good coverage and they have good rotation um, where they're able to adjust in this team. Um, and the only thing I'm a bit worried for is the upcoming games coming up. How much are Arsenal going to rotate in terms of attack? Jorginho, some of the games where we need momentum in the midfield, we need to control the midfield. I'd like to see Jorginho come on. But other than that, I would stick to a midfield of Partey, Rice, Odegaard. Partey was rested for the game, the previous game. So I would assume he starts the Brentford game. I'm going to do a Brentford preview either I think I'll do it on Tuesday because the game's on Wednesday, or even I might do it tomorrow. But maybe I think I'll do it on Tuesday. Somebody said, "How about Ryan Cherokee? How about Arsenal go for someone like Ryan Cherokee in January without breaking the bank?" But he does. He did say he wants Premier League football. He rejected Fulham and he was linked with Liverpool. He can play a right wing hybrid and he can play in the number 10 position. Leon's not really great financially. You did see they had financial fair play issues and they were eliminated from their league. He's got 1 year left of his contract. Maybe that's a player we could go out for and look into. Hi, Rosie. Thank you for joining. Big up to you. Hope you're having wonderful holidays. Ryan Cherokee may be someone to consider. in the January upcoming window. I will talk about January signings as soon as January 1st comes by on Wednesday, and we'll hear maybe some more rumors and paper talk of who Arsenal are linked to, especially on that right wing position if we're looking coverage for. But I also think we'll address the goalkeeper position, which we wanted to properly in the summer. Of course, we signed Neto, who is cup tied. Stupid of Arsenal. We go for a goalkeeper to play in the cup games, and he ends up being cup tied. It's so typical of Arsenal to mess up like this. Boo says Brentford have a lot of injuries, which is good news for us. Yes, Brentford do have a lot of injuries. I know Wissa and Mbuemo are to look out for in that Brentford team. But Brentford have a good record at home. Hopefully, Arsenal don't get nervous and don't park the bus there. I do hope we try to get them on the counter attack. I will go through my predicted lineup for the game in my preview. Do you think Lewis Skelly's confidence was built due to having more game time? What if Ethan Waneri needs that to improve? 100%. I do think, in the cup games, Lewis Skelly and having Ethan Waneri, these kids have got the opportunity against Preston midweek in the League Cup. We did see that them perform well. And yes, Flecken's injury, that was a sad one. I think him and Fabianski both got injured in the same weekend, folks. The Fabianski one was really difficult to watch as he was stretchered off the pitch. What if Ethan Waneri needs more game time to improve? I think it really depends on the fixture we're playing, and maybe if we're rotating in the team, or if we're already 2-0 or 3-0 up in the league, bring these kids on in the 80th minute, give them 20 minutes of game time. I think that would help them get confidence on the pitch, especially in these league games. But if we're already losing, or if we're 1-0 up, it's difficult because Arsenal. Look at this Ipswich game. They nearly made it 1-1. They could have made it 1-1, and it was the only chance of the game. But Arsenal need to be wary of that. Look at against Everton, for example, at home. We struggled to break down that Everton team, Sean Dyche's team, at home. Hi, Don. I hope you're well. My favorite parody account. Hope your Christmas was good. Yeah, the holidays was good. I'm still on holiday mode, and I just got back home yesterday. After the Ipswich game. I'm glad Arsenal won and didn't destroy my record at the Emirates. But more importantly, I'm glad we got the 3 points we needed. I do think it's now a even bigger gap once the holidays now. Liverpool are almost double digits, I believe, now ahead of us. And it is important for us to beat Brentford away from home at the G-Tech Community Stadium. West Ham rolled over earlier today for City, for Liverpool and City. Of course, you guys saw their game today with Savinho back. Um, Nobody has ever said that I'm their favorite parody account. Yes, you're my favorite parody account, but I wish you would state who you actually are. Because I know your real name ain't Don McCullum, that's for sure. Um, Liverpool currently on 45 points with Arsenal on 36 points. Liverpool have a game in hand, which is the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. I think Everton would play for pride in that game in the final derby at Goodison Park, especially considering the fact that that stadium is going to be destroyed at the end of the season. So I don't think a game in hand necessarily equates to points on the board. I'll always say that. Even last season, there were some games in hand and double game weeks. Those of you who play Fantasy Premier League, you know all about double game weeks and you're using your triple captain then. For me, double game weeks, triple game weeks don't necessarily mean 100% points on the board. Forest, unbelievable from Forest. I can't believe they're second in the league. You got to give credit to that Forest team, beating Everton 2-0 today. And I can't believe Neil Mope taking the piss out of Everton on Twitter. This guy is a class A troll, Neil Mope. If you guys saw that, Nottingham Forest are on fire under Nuno Espirito Santos, former Tottenham manager, and Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham, oh my gosh, Tottenham can't win a game. I don't know if Omar's still watching, but Omar, my friend from California, he supports Tottenham, and he chose Tottenham because he wanted to support the rivals of Arsenal, and he likes Heung-min Son. Tottenham drawing to Wolves at home. Guys, come on. This is ridiculous. And Cunha got subbed off at halftime. Some people saying Cunha would be a good signing for us or the likes of Semenyo or Embuemo. I do think these are just names like people are drawing out of a hat, like as if it's FIFA or pro clubs or something like that. But I don't think these are realistic links, and I don't think Arsenal would even consider, or even the teams that they're currently at would consider letting them go. I know John Duran is a great player for Villa. I hope he was available on the market. It would be nice for us to go for him. There were previous links of Arsenal being linked to Kolo Muani, but I also do think it's paper talk, and I don't see that our recruitment team would go after someone like that. Hi Wilson, hope you're well. Hope you had a good Christmas holidays. Um, Thank you so much, Rosie. Hope all the chat are well. Make sure you're smashing the like button and subbing. I thought I'd go live quickly. Not only to go live to talk about the injury update to Bukayo Saka, I wanted to talk about overall the news of Fabio Vieira's recalling from loan potentially, some injury concerns with Arsenal, the likes of Raheem Sterling still being out injured. Arteta did say that he looked better in terms of his recovery. A look ahead at the fixtures coming up and also Arteta's post press conference against Ipswich. Of course, I wasn't able to do a watch along for the Ipswich game or a match review. This is kind of my review of the game also at the start, but I was attending the game, so I wasn't able to cover the Ipswich game. It was nice to see Arsenal honor Santi Cazorla return at the Emirates. I think that was very heartfelt. And we did, of course, talk about Saka's injury and who would step up at right wing. It is clear that Arsenal need to strengthen in that January transfer market, but my mind says Arsenal won't spend in this January window. But I do think maybe we'll make a loan signing. Kingsley Coman, I do think he's not the answer for this winger issue. But if a loan opportunity arises with Kingsley Coman, I do think it's something like when we were linked to Raheem Sterling. I was really against it at first, but it's better than nobody. Kingsley Coman, of course, is 28 years old. He is quite old. I don't think Arsenal would look for someone like that unless it was a stopgap type of signing, which is what we used to do in the past. Donna says, I also support Tottenham. Yes, I remember. I'm a bit annoyed that Saka is injured, says Wilson. I feel that he has been overplayed massively. Surely we need a winger and striker in terms of adding more depth and quality. Bring back Serge Gnabry. Guys, I've seen Serge Gnabry play live. And I also met him when the Bayern team got off the coach when they came for the Emirates fixture. I did post some pictures on Twitter. It was really incredible, and it was nice to meet my Canadian Alfonso Davis. I think he's a quality player. Arsenal, man, if you're looking, Alfonso Davis is right there for left back. I know Arsenal have a lot of left backs coverage, but if we're gonna get rid of Tomiyasu or if we're gonna get rid of Kivior, Alfonso Davis is the answer. And even Jonathan David on a free transfer. Who says no, guys? We can't afford to make the same mistakes during the January transfer window again. This is a massive opportunity which has to be taken, to be honest. We say that every January transfer window that we need reinforcements or we need a new shiny toy. I understand, however, fans' frustrations, especially with that right wing side being deprived now due to injury concerns of Bukayo Saka, possibly out for the until April, the start of April. It could be longer depending on his recovery process, but I do think it's a minimum of 3 months. Which state of Canada are you from? We don't have states in Canada, we have provinces and cities. So I'm from the province of Ontario and city of Toronto. And yeah, I like to travel a lot to go to games. If you guys follow me on social media, you often see my travel posts when I go to home games, some away games, and some European away games. Hi, Gooner Gathering. Hope you're well. Hope you having a good day so far. Hope you had a great Christmas. Um, It'd be nice to see you going live one of these days. I caught your stream before when you cover the women's content. Now I live in Asia. That's cool, Donna. Kingsley, Gnome, and Ryan. Big up Ryan in the house. Hope you're well. Big up to Lee from Gooner Gathering. I know you guys cover the women's content, and I also talk about the women's games. It'll be nice to go to another women's league game this upcoming year. I hope to go to a women's and academy game again. That was really fun. I'm from Northern Ireland. I do like the Irish accent. It's pretty fun. And I like the Scottish accent when Rosie or Mitchie are talking. It's pretty unique. I know they don't like it or they don't think it's cool, but I think it's cool. And a lot of people say I sound like an American. So Ryan, America's hat, big up to you. Um, but guys, I'm gonna wrap up the stream now. We did talk about the links to Kingsley Coman, stated from Simon Collins' article, and I don't think this is true news. I think this is just paper talk. Covering Bukayo Saka with another injury prone, I don't think it's the answer. The real signing to replace Bukayo Saka or coverage would be someone like Mohamed Kudus from West Ham, but West Ham have valued Mohamed Kudus at 100 million price tag, which is insane. And I don't see Arsenal spending this kind of money in January at all. We have a lot of positions to address in midfield alone in the summer, so I don't think we'll spend big in the January window. Big up, Josh. Hope you're well. I know it's your birthday coming up in 2 months' time. I hope you had a good Christmas holidays, and good to see you in the chat room. I have a mix of Irish and Asian accent. That's really cool, Donna. Um, it's good when you have mixed cultures and you learn about other people's cultures and countries. Yeah, I don't think this Kingsley Coleman links is the answer. Signing an injury-prone player as coverage isn't the answer. I'd rather stick with Martinelli or Fabio Vieira, and it's a shame because Fabio Vieira often gets injured too. When he offers something different, he gets injured, and he doesn't really get a full run of games or game time. Silly season in full effect. Best wishes. Big up Lee. Hope you're well. And hope Bertie's well as well. I'm happy with the Arsenal women's guys. Renee has been unbeaten in the league ever since Jonas Endevel left. The Arsenal ladies are soaring high, and my girl Alicia Russo is on the top of the score sheet for Arsenal ladies. They did do a Christmas video with her and Beth Mead. I know Viv Miedema is a big miss when she's at City now, but I do think Arsenal are thankfully we're doing well and we can top the group in the Champions League, especially after losing our first game in the Champions League to Bayern Munich. We got slapped by Bayern Munich ladies, but I'm happy with the Arsenal ladies' performances week in and week out. It's been good, and long may it continue. My third kit, I haven't got the third kit yet. I have the home kit and the away kit. The back of this kit is Gabriel Magalhaes, which is our number 6, the King of Brazil. And my away kit is Saliba. The partnership of Saliba and Gabriel has been immense this season, folks. I'm telling you, immense. These two have just made it so solid for Arsenal this season. And in 2024, both of them, I hope long may it continue, our solidity in defense with those two. We don't have to worry about, mistakes in defense wise. In 2024, I think Arsenal has had one of the best defenses. Hopefully, we continue that in 2025 throughout the business end of the season. Um, that's my hope for. I hope Arsenal win a trophy at the end of the season, whether it be the FA Cup, the League Cup, or the um, Champions League or Premier League. The Champions League is really the dream. That would be incredible. Vieira's situation was clarified today. He's not applying himself well in training, hence his matchday exclusion. Hi, Godwin. I did speak about the manager of Porto, talking about the Vieira situation. I already spoke about it on my stream earlier on. Because you're just joining, you must have missed it. But yes, I did talk about it. And the partnership of Gabriel and Saliba, that's something I wish we would have throughout our attack, something so solid like that. But Arsenal didn't concede more than 2 goals in any game in 2024, which is quite good. But unfortunately, that's not a trophy good. And I hope by the end of the season, if we surely deserve a trophy this season, whether it be the league, the Champions League, the League Cup, or the FA Cup, which we have the most of in and the FA Cup in February. There's going to be a lot of fixtures still to be played, especially hopefully considering the fact that we would still be in the League Cup, playing Newcastle over 2 legs. It's not the worst of draws, but us having to play Newcastle away in the second leg is a bit is a bit is a bit difficult. But I do hope we take our best players, and we would have to rotate just a little bit. I don't think we can rotate entirely, as I do think Newcastle would take that seriously. I don't think they'll get into Champions League positions this season. So I think they'll take it seriously, just like Palace played a strong lineup against us in the quarterfinals of the League Cup, whereas we went with a not so strong lineup. And we had to bring Saka and Odegaard off the bench just to make it work for us. Josh, good luck to you in your career in policing. I really hope that works out for you. I know you've been working hard, training and stuff for that. That'll be pretty cool. It's kind of similar to my career in the legal field. But hopefully, all the best to you in the new year. And thanks for tuning in. Now I'm waiting for my best friend to come back and we'll have a blast for New Year. Guys, I'm excited for 2025. 2024 has been a lot of ups and downs. I think my highlight of 2024 is probably traveling to watch the football, and long may that continue for 2025. Hopefully, get to watch the Arsenal ladies game and academy game. Those are easier to get to. And it'll be nice to catch up with my friends there, who also support the Arsenal ladies team. I hope to get my third kit sometime in the new year. Hello on Anders. Hope you're well. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm not good with pronunciations, but thanks everyone. 2025, Melina, you could become a great Rangers fan. Make Canada blue. Make Canada great again. Get rid of Trudeau first. Secondly, Rosie, I supported Rangers for less than 1 day, and Rangers could have won the game, but the second goal was ruled offside. But anything against Tottenham, and Tottenham will forever be in Arsenal's shadows. They couldn't even beat Wolves today at home, and they lost last week, which was pathetic. Ange Postecoglou, what's going on? I love watching expressions oozing when Tottenham lose. He's really funny. And I'm not going to talk about my FPL team just yet, as there's some games to be played. But I think briefly, I think everyone has captained Cole Palmer or Salah. And those of you that captained Salah, he did haul today. Stat pad sesh. He got double-digit numbers and bonus points for Salah and Luis Diaz. I'll go over my team at the end of the game week and give you guys some updates. Those of you playing FPL, good luck to you. And hopefully Arsenal tend to do well, or hopefully we do well in this business end of the season after the holiday period. A lot of games to be played in this festive month, December and January. January, just a few days to go till Brentford away at GTEC Stadium. So hopefully Arsenal get a win. I'll do my preview either sometime tomorrow or on Tuesday. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in. I'm going to close out the stream now, and thanks for all your support. We are on the road to 9.3k subs, which is incredible. Thanks to each and every one of you along the way. Big up to everyone. Have a great New Year's. Happy New Year's Eve soon. I'll probably wish you all for New Year's when I do my Brentford away preview. Brentford have a lot of injuries, so maybe Arsenal could take advantage of that. And hopefully we don't sit back after going 1-0 up against Brentford. That's something Arsenal typically do, and we allow the opposition to get back into the gear, into the game. Hopefully that's not the case against Brentford away. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Happy New Year in advance to you and your families. I will be doing a giveaway in the new year, so stay tuned for that. And if you do want to follow all my socials, it's just Miss Melina. All my socials are the same. Hi, Ian. Hope you're well. Long time no speak. Hope you had a good Christmas, you and your family. Thanks for joining, Ian. I'll message you on Instagram. It's been a while since we last spoke. Hopefully you had a great holidays. Happy New Year in advance, everybody. Have a good rest of your evening. Thanks for joining, and adios. Bye, everybody.